Okay, I'd like to call a special board meeting to order at 7 p.m. Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please.
Chavez. He's here, right?
Here.
Whitmore.
Here.
Jackson. Mr. Jackson here.
I do not see, oh, there's Dennis, he's on there, he's just Dennis.
Mason. O'Connell.
Here.
Rosas. Sosa. And
Okay.
Here.
thank you.
Here. Okay.
Dennis says he is here, but he cannot hear.
Oh,
I just promoted him to a.
Okay, so let's see if he can
The hearing is should be.
hear us.
okay. Then
Dennis, let us know if you can hear us. Well, and in fact, you know what, Alex, Carlos, and Dennis, we're going to, you guys are gonna have to navigate into the other link for the closed session portion. So in your emails, you should all have that link. I'm gonna go ahead and start that meeting. And for the rest of our audience members and attendees, and panelists, we are going to go into our closed session to consider information regarding appointment of employment or dismissal of an employee or officer. So we will pause our webinar and go into closed session, and then we will come back shortly when we are done with that. Okay? He's probably not back on. Hold on.
Chavez,
We have to get them back, sorry. I don't think I have the ability.
Is Rose not?
Rose is not here at all.
Yeah, you have to promote them to panelists, Joe. I can't do it. For some reason, I can't do it.
Hail Mary, right?
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Can you hear us?
Here we go.
Okay, we're
Okay.
getting our board members back.
Now Carlos will be able to do his committee, correct?
Yes, okay, yep. Okay, so let's see, we have Dennis, Carlos, and then did you get Alex? There's Alex.
And Sosa. All right, so. Mr. Chavez.
Okay, we are all back.
You want to let Mr. Chavez know? You want to let Mr. Chavez know that we're ready for policy?
Yeah, Mr. Chavez, we are ready for the policy committee if you want to call that meeting to order.
Sorry, who's my coach?
Me, do
Mrs. O'Connell?
you want me to do?
Can you run that for me, please? My apologies.
No, that's okay, Carlos, no problem. Okay, so I'd like to call the Policy and Legislation Committee to order at 7:27. We don't need to do the pledge, right?
No.
Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Chavez,
Aye.
Hightower, Jackson, Mason, O'Connell,
Here.
Rosas, Sosa.
Yeah.
Okay, any public participation?
No.
Good, any old business? Okay, then we need a motion to accept the policies as presented. Policy 302, Superintendent Revised, Policy 410, Student Fundraising Activities. That's a revised one. Policy 604, Student Testing and Assessment Program, revised. Policy 716, Health, Eye, and Dental. That's a revised. Also, Policy 729, Search and Seizure, revised, and Policy 741, Extracurricular Activities, revised. Is everybody okay with the first reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, can we have a motion? Is it? Okay. Calvin,
Yes.
and was that Alex?
Yes.
Oh, Dennis, hi Dennis. Okay, could we have roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower, Jackson, O'Connell,
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, any other business? All right, could we have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:29? Okay, Dennis?
I second, Carlos.
Okay, and Carlos. Could we have roll call, please?
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson, O'Connell,
Aye.
Sosa,
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, right? Okay, then we're just gonna go on into our regular meeting. We'll call it to order at 7:29. Could we have roll call again, please?
Yes. Chavez.
Here.
Hightower,
Here.
Jackson, Mason, O'Connell,
Here.
Rosas, Sosa.
Here.
Okay. The first motion is that the board accept the resignation of board member Maria Rosas. Was that Dennis? Okay, could we have a second, please?
I second.
Okay, and Carlos, could we have roll call, please?
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next is appointment of a new committee chairperson. Do we have anybody that's interested in bilingual advisory?
Not yet, but we might. When we appoint our new one, maybe we could table that until the next meeting, if that would be okay?
Sure.
Okay. Did everybody hear that? So,
I'm good.
okay, so we'll table that until the next meeting. Okay. So our next item is the referendum bond update.
Okay, so with us this evening, we have Tammy back again from PMA, who's going to be presenting on our updated information on our bond sales. So I am going to turn it over to Tammy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bresnahan, and thanks for the opportunity to take some time at your board meeting tonight. We are excited to talk with you because bond market conditions continue to be on the district side, and we wanted to give you an updated plan for the sale of your remaining referendum bond authority. So if we go to the next slide, just wanted to first talk a little bit about the three areas we're going to cover tonight. First, we're just going to talk about bond market conditions in general, how they relate to when you sold your first series of referendum bonds last summer, and then show you a couple updated financing scenarios, and then just share with you briefly at the end the timeline for the 2021 bonds, which is coming up here pretty soon. So first, let's look at where the market has been. So this is a graph that we have looked at together before, and it represents the Municipal Market Data Index, or the MMD, which is an amalgamation of tax-exempt rates throughout the country for a AAA rated issuer. And it's important to look at the trend in the rates because your bonds are going to sell relative to or at a spread to what the index is doing. And that's the case whether you're any type of governmental issuer of bonds across the country. There is an arrow pointing to where your bonds from the 2020 issue sold back in early August. And at that point, you were at the lowest point in history for the municipal bond market in this index. And the good news is the market rates really haven't changed. They've moved around a little bit, but they're very, very close to what they were back in August when your bond sold. And as you can see in that blue call out box, you're only about 0.04% to 0.13% higher, which is really not much at all on a relative scale. So the market tone is excellent. One of the main drivers of that is the fact that there is not enough municipal supply to keep up with the demand. Investors are clamoring for tax-exempt bonds in particular, and there's just not enough out there. So when issuers are going into the market, they're getting really, really solid results. And that is also suppressing this index. And we're hopeful that that's going to continue for at least the next few months, because with a new administration in Washington, we believe there could be some initiatives that may continue to suppress interest rates downward. Time will tell, but for now, the market tone is absolutely fantastic. So if we go to the next slide, this is a picture of what the original plan was with the referendum. And I apologize, these numbers are so small, but I want to highlight just two things. If we could scroll down on the page just a little bit. Thank you so much. So the original plan was, and if we look, and there's right in the middle, that's perfect where the cursor is right now. The original plan was to sell 26 million last summer, which you did. The two columns shaded in light blue represent what the original plan was after the referendum passed, which was to sell 40 million in 2021 and the balance of your referendum authority in 2022. So we'd get you in aggregate to the 105 million that was approved by the voters. So based on what that update was and taking current rates and adding a little bit of cushion, we can see a couple things. Number one, where the circle is with the upper right-hand corner, what the estimated impact is on the tax rate. It's about an 85-cent tax rate increase. And later in the presentation, I'll relate that to what the original estimate was during the referendum campaign, or for someone with a $200,000 market value home that would increase their taxes by about $412. So again, this was the original plan. And with some small cushion in rates based where the market is right now, you can see at the bottom, the estimated total debt service costs combined for the 21 and 22 bonds per the original plan was just under $102.3 million. And if we go to the next slide, this is a picture looking at what we've just talked about. But one thing I want to highlight for you is that you can see that annual payments would be about $6.46 million in aggregate for the referendum bond. So all three series combined, our estimate was that that payment would be, again, $6.46 million over the life of the three bond issues together. So let's go to the next slide. And because I remember back in November when we had a chance to talk with the board about the updated plan, there was some helpful feedback from the board, and you said, well, look, if rates are so low, should we think about accelerating more of the remaining referendum authority into 2021? So we took a close look at that and had some additional dialogue with Dr. Bresnahan and Mrs. Vince over the last couple of weeks to say what would be beneficial to the district. And where we have landed, and I'll show you updated numbers in a second, is to say, what if we sold all but $9 million of the remaining $79 million of authority now in 2021? And the reason we're picking the $9 million to be the last piece in 2022 is because there's something called bank qualification. That means if you, as a tax exempt issuer of debt, sell up to $10 million of tax exempt bonds in any calendar year, the bonds can be deemed bank qualified, or BQ. And what that means is, because you're up to that limit, there are benefits to an investor, namely banks, that if they buy your bank qualified or BQ bonds, the federal government gives them federal tax breaks. And those benefits are passed along to you by way of slightly lower interest rates than if they were not bank qualified. So it makes sense to make sure that this last piece would fit under that $10 million threshold, okay? The other thing we're mindful of, as you may remember, between the 2020, 21, and 22 bond issues, the plan was for each series to be sold over a 20-year period. So at the end of the day, in aggregate, the life of the bonds altogether is 22 years. That was what was communicated to voters during the referendum campaign. And with a final piece in 2022, we can still honor that message to voters, okay? So let's go to the next slide. And I'm going to show you a revised plan. So again, we're still selling 79 million between 21 and 22, but now if you look at that green circled area at the bottom, you can see the 2021 issue will be for 70 million and the 2022 issue will be for 9 million. And if we look at the blue circle up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the estimated homeowner impact. It's about 84 cents or about $407 on the first year for that $200,000 market value home. At the bottom, you can see estimated total debt service between the two series is just over $103 million. It is a little bit higher than the plan, the original plan, which again, we're assuming interest rates would be the same between the 21 and the 22 issue. If that would happen, then of course, the first scenario would be a little bit less expensive just because you're not selling as much in the first issue in 2021. But let's go to the next slide because I wanted to show you just the same type of picture. It looks very similar to the picture that you saw a couple slides ago, but now we anticipate that in aggregate, the total annual debt service payment from the three series of referendum bonds together would be about $6.5 million. So just a little bit more than the previous option I shared with you. So what does this all mean at the end of the day? And what is our plan going forward? So I just, first as a starting point, wanted to share with you, during the referendum campaign, the message to the public was, and we did build in healthy conservatism into the rates because we didn't know where interest rates would be by the time you'd actually sell the bonds, would be just listed at the top there, about $152.8 million. And the total estimated annual referendum debt service payment would have been just under $7.3 million. The scenario one, which is the update to the original plan that you all signed off on after the referendum passed, look at that update. It's just under 136 million, or the annual payment would be about 6.46 million. And let's compare that to scenario 2. So our new plan with 70 million sold in 21 and the balance sold in 22, our estimated debt service cost is about 136.5 million, or the annual payment is about 6.5 million. The difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2 is only $815,000. Now, I know that's not an insignificant amount of money, but when we think about what is the interest rate risk on that difference, this is how we should think about it. So if we didn't do scenario 2, if we went with scenario 1 and we did the original plan of 40 million in 21 and 39 million in 2022, if interest rates go up by more than 30 basis points or 0.30% between now and January of 22, you are better off going with scenario 2, meaning you're better off selling 70 million now and the balance a year from now. 30 basis points of market movement in the big scheme of things is pretty small. We've seen market movement, that interest rate graph we looked at earlier. We've seen interest rate movement like that. Certainly when COVID happened back in March, we saw much more greater movement than that. But even in more normal times, and we've been in a more normal environment in the market over the last 9 months, we can see 30 basis points of movement happen relatively quickly. So from my point of view as your advisor, I believe it is a good position to put the board and the district in to sell 70 million now and the balance, the 9 million in early 2022. And then the last slide I have for you, or 2 more I mean, is to just show you the updated homeowner impact. So just as a reminder, what was communicated to homeowners during the referendum campaign was for a $200,000 market value home, that their impact on their tax bill would be $558. And that was reflective of a bond and interest tax rate increase of just under $1.16. In reality, what we expect based on the scenario 2, the latest update with the new plan, that impact will be $407 because that tax rate will only go up by about 84 cents instead of almost $1.16. So better message, lower impact on the homeowner than what had been estimated during the campaign. You have really benefited and are going to continue to benefit from these amazing interest rates. Some of it is luck, but planning and being really careful about how you wanted to sell the bonds in increments is really paying off in managing your interest cost. And finally, I just wanted to end with what our timeline looks like. So last week, Dr. Bresnahan and Mrs. Vince were in front of Standard & Poor's with an updated presentation to affirm the credit rating. You'll recall the district secured a AA- credit rating for the Series 2020 bonds. And with every bond issue, that rating needs to be affirmed. So we expect to hear back within the next few days, the affirmation of that rating. And the plan is to be in the market for the sale of the 70 million on February 9th, and then close on the transaction. The district would receive those proceeds on March 2nd. So we are moving ahead pretty quickly. There's been a lot of behind the scenes work over the last several weeks. So let me stop there. Thank you for letting me give you this update tonight, but we wanted to make sure you had kind of real-time information on what is happening in the market and share the good news about the updated plan.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Always, we learn so much, and you have such a wonderful way of sharing such very complicated and complex information. So with that, is there any questions or feedback from the board?
Yes, so this is Carlos. So what was the total amount of bonds we're supposed to sell?
105 million.
Okay, so out of the 105, what have we sold so far to date?
So far, you've only sold 26 million, and that was last August.
Okay, so 26. So we've got 79 million remaining, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you're recommending scenario 2, selling the other 70 million and keeping the 9 million for a final round in 2022.
Correct.
Okay. why keep it until then? Why not go through with the full 79?
Sure. Dr. Brosnan, do you want to touch on that? Do you want me to start off on that response?
Well, I'll say, just when we had when we first introduced the referendum to the community, we presented it as a 22-year time commitment to spread it out over 22 years. If we were to sell all of our remaining bonds early, that would mean we would have to pay them back early, and that would shorten that time frame rather than spread it out into the 22. So that would actually increase our liabilities in order to pay it off at an accelerated rate. So by doing this and relieving that remaining 9, we actually leave ourselves room to honor the commitment of the 22-year payback, still reducing, I think, pretty significantly the cost impact to the taxpayers. Tammy, please correct me if I got any of that wrong.
No, that was perfect.
And we would also be a benefit from the tax exempt of less than $10 million, correct?
Correct. So originally we were, when we looked at the other scenario of withholding even more for the 2022 issuance, number one, we're taking a higher risk that rates may go up by then. And since they're at such a, near historic low, we said, let's capitalize on as much as we can now. But then also when Tammy presented these bank qualified for under the 10 million, it made it even that much more, appealing to do it in this format, which I think really, it honors the commitment to our community, but it also sets us up to maximize the value on the sales end.
Okay. And you need direction tonight to move forward with scenario 1 or 2?
Correct. We would like board consensus to go ahead and move forward. We have already been authorized by the board to issue up to the remaining 79 million. But I would like the board to kind of give their little, seal of approval as we head into this bond sales. We're already presenting for $70 million. So we would like the board to get consensus on that tonight.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Peg is good, Calvin is good. Do we have feedback from our other members?
I'm good too.
Excellent, thank you. Alex?
I'm good. I'm sorry.
Awesome, that's okay. And Mr. Jackson? Can you hear us, Mr. Jackson? Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, wonderful. So we have consensus to move forward, Tammy, so I think we are in great shape to move forward with scenario 2.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're excited to get your sale in the market.
Excellent, and thanks for your patience tonight.
You're welcome. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Going on, we need a motion to accept the written correspondence, please.
Alex, second.
Okay. Dennis and Alex, could we have roll call, please?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Any oral participation?
None. We have had no questions or comments from our audience.
Okay. Then consideration of full business. We need a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting December 14th and closed session November 18th, or November 16th, I'm sorry, as presented.
I motion.
Okay, was
Second.
that? Rose and Dennis? Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Moving on to reports. Any old business, Dr. Bresnan again?
No old business.
Okay. All right, any old business for our assistant superintendent?
No old business.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Zimmerman. Okay.
No old business.
No, but, oh, wait.
He's jumping the gun. He's
He's
ahead of us.
Hurry up here, huh? Okay. All right.
Yes, I have old business.
Okay, Mrs. Vince.
The suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the accounts and claims payable authorization as presented.
Were there any questions on the bills?
No, there were no questions this month.
Okay, could we have a motion, please, then?
Alex,
Okay, motion by
Carlos, Carlos second.
and Carlos. Okay, could we have roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson. O'Connell,
Aye.
Sosa.
aye.
Motion carried.
Okay,
Okay, and I did want to remind the board, last month, I did inform the board that there may be items that were obligated to pay that would not have been picked up in that early December board meeting, and that we would pay them this month. And it worked out that there was only one required payment, and that was included in your accounts and claims payable that you just approved.
okay,
And then the monthly building rental report is included in your packet for your review, and this is for informational purposes only. And that's the end of my report.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Sullivan. Any old business?
No old business. Sorry about jumping the gun earlier.
No, that's okay. We like it when you're eager. Okay, and Mrs. Travis?
No old business.
Okay, thank you. Any other old business? No, all right. Now we need, we've got a closed session.
Correct.
Okay, we need a motion to recess into closed session for items A through D as listed on our agenda.
Jackson.
Okay. Dennis, could we have a second, please?
Alex,
Carlos. Okay, could we have roll call, please?
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
O'Connell,
Aye.
Sosa,
aye.
Chavez.
Okay.
Motion carried.
7:53. Okay.
Okay, audience members, we are going to leave to go into our closed session Zoom, so hang tight on the webinar and we should be back shortly. Thank you. Board members, if you want to jump off and join us on the closed session link, please.
Okay. So now we're in open session at 8:18. All board members are present except Maria and Rose Mason. Is everybody there? I hope.
They're giving thumbs up, yep.
Yeah, did
You're
you,
giving thumbs up? Okay.
they're all back up there, Dennis, Carlos, Alex?
I will double check.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Okay. You're good.
I'm good. Just like Carlos.
Everybody's good? Okay, consideration of new business reports. We had a PACE meeting on December 17th, and we also had one on January 21st. We haven't done a lot of business at all. We did approve policies at our December meeting, and Baker Tilly had come and presented the audit report for us at that meeting. And that at our last meeting, we really didn't do anything either. We accepted a donation of some disposable face masks, and our audit refunds and billings for the 2019-20 fiscal year will be sent to the member districts this month. So maybe we've already gotten ours from PACE. And our next PACE meeting will be Thursday, February 18th at 6 p.m. So, okay. And the only other thing, we have a facilities meeting, and we've got minutes in our board packet. And that was you, Mr. Calvin.
Yeah.
We're good?
Pretty good.
Okay. Dr. Bresnahan, you're on.
Okay, so I'm gonna hand this to you. Start there. The motion is on the back. We're gonna start with the hard part first, if that's okay.
Who's on? Oh,
So I'm going to read a letter that I drafted so that I can hopefully, thank you, get through this. And I can't.
well, it's not too late. Don't do it.
So I'm just gonna read this. So our audience out there, thank you for your patience and your kindness. So I might need someone to read this for me. It is with a very heavy heart that I submit my resignation.
Do you want our secretary to read it for you? Do you want
I'll
me to
make
read
it. I'll make it.
Are you okay? Yeah.
As superintendent of Berkeley School District 87, effective June 30th, 2021. Serving this district for the past 7 years has been the highlight of my career. It has been a true honor and privilege to have been entrusted with the responsibility of caring for and leading District 87. I am grateful to each of you for your support and trust throughout my time here. You have helped me grow as a leader and as a person. To the students, families, staff, and administration of District 87, I share my sincerest gratitude for allowing me to serve as your superintendent. Words cannot express the impact each of you have had on me as a leader and as a person. The service of public education extends far beyond the boundaries of any one district. The lasting relationships I have formed will continue on long after my departure. I wish District 87 and the Board of Education all the best in its continued journey of excellence. To have played even a small part in your story has been the honor of a lifetime.
Thank you so much. Whoa. Now who's going to want to make this motion? None of us. Well, do you want me to make it?
Yeah.
Regretfully, I suggest that the board accept the resignation of Dr. Bresnahan, effective June 30th, 2021. Could we have a second?
Regretfully, I was second.
You, okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
They're trying to, Dr. Bresnahan. Made everybody cry.
Big loss there, big loss to district. We wish you great success.
Thank you so much. Just thank you all. And I will not be far, and I promise that these next 5 months, and even long beyond that, I will continue to be connected to each of you. And I'll always be a part of this District 87 family, I hope. So thank you. Okay, made it through. Whew. So now we ask that the board accept the resignation of the following personnel: Melissa Rivera, a Riley 4th grade ESL teacher, effective at the end of the 2020-2021 school year.
Could we have a motion, please?
Alex.
Dennis, the second,
Alex.
and Alex. Okay, thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the leave request as presented for Allison Ferguson, Julia Martinez, Judith Buckowitz, Esther Pereira, Claire Ann Hansen, and Jennifer Buckowitz.
Could we have a motion?
Alex.
Alex? Okay, a second?
Second.
Carlos, okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the leave request as presented for Maria Hendricks.
Could we have a motion, please?
I can second.
Jack? Okay, Jackson, did you motion and second from Alex? Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good, thank you. Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the leave request as presented for Nadine Johnson, Maura Zuniga, Deborah Allen Head, Sylvia Rubio, Kaisha Williams, and Danielle Shannon.
Motion, please? Dennis, okay. Could we have a second? Carlos? Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board accept the following policies for first reading. So we have policy 302, 410, 604, 716, 729, and 741 as presented in your packet.
We have a motion? Dennis, and second by Carlos. Okay, we have roll call, please?
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the Board of Education approve the Serious Safety Hazard Annual Resolution as presented.
Can we have a motion?
Alex can second.
Okay,
I motion.
and Carlos. Could we have roll call, please?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. Motion carried.
We ask that the board declassify the following closed minutes as presented for May 18, 20, June 22 of 20, July 27th of 20, August 31st of 20, and October 26th is 20, noting that those listed in your packet below from closed session minutes were not declassified.
Could we have a motion, please? Dennis, second?
Second.
Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa,
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower. Jackson. O'Connell. Motion carries.
And we ask that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of understanding with the Berkeley Education Association as presented.
Motion, please?
Aye.
Alex.
Alex, second?
Carlos.
Carlos. Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower. Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, I just have a few items on my oral report for this evening. As we had discussed at our last meeting in December, I expressed to you the interest from the mayor of Berkeley regarding a ceremony to commemorate the partnership between Berkeley Baseball and the School District 87. They would like that ceremony to take place on Sunday, May 2nd. That will be approximately 1 week prior to the beginning demolition date for the work at MacArthur and Sunnyside in the field. So it will actually time out very well, but I wanted to make sure that the board was in agreement, number one, with that date. Recall they want to issue a plaque that will then be displayed when the new field is built. So hopefully that will be something that will be a nice event for people to attend in the spring. And then that also is our starting date for when we'll start the water mitigation excavation on site for MacArthur and Sunnyside. We have successfully completed our first full week of hybrid learning, and we are so excited to have students back on site in our schools. Last week, we welcomed students from kindergarten and 3rd grade and 6th grade, so our newest students in each of the grade level centers. Many thanks our central office staff all deployed out to the schools to help, but our principals and assistant principals and their teams at all of the schools did an absolutely amazing job organizing, planning, really ensuring that safety was a top priority. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. White and his team for helping secure all of our busing, and to all of the schools for ensuring that we had riders to be on the bus to take temperatures, to all the staff who stood outside on many chilly mornings to take temperatures and do symptoms checks. But it all paid off to watch those young students walk through our halls, and you could see the smiles behind their masks. So we have approximately 1/3 of each grade level who is returning. So it's a small but manageable size. So we continue with those grade levels this week. Next week, we plan on welcoming back grades 1, 4, and 7. And then the following week, based on the success of next week, we hope to then bring back our final 3 grade levels. And then lastly, mid-February, we are looking at our littlest ones, our pre-K learners. So again, it's been wonderful. Our parents have been very accommodating, very supportive, and most of all, greatly appreciative of this model and being able to get kids back on site. They stay here half a day, they grab their lunch and their breakfast for the next day, and then they head out and they participate in their remote learning in the afternoon with their peers. Many thanks to Mr. Byrne and the tech department for ensuring that all of that synchronous learning can take place. And I just really want to commend our teachers for being willing and able and taking this big leap of faith, because no one in the history of education has ever done this before. And to be placed in this pandemic and to pull through and be willing to do this to get their students here is just a tremendous sign of their dedication and their centeredness on children and what's best for them. So we're taking baby steps, and but we're making good progress, and I'm hoping that the way we are going, our numbers are looking better and better. Every week they have dropped dramatically across all of our zip codes. So we continue to trend better and better. And then lastly, just to couple in with that is an update on our vaccination. It is a slow process through Cook County Department of Public Health, but we are working diligently to continue to secure partners with us to provide vaccinations for Group 1B, which we are now in. And 1B includes all education staff. And so everyone in 1B is eligible, but it is very hard to secure appointments. So I want to thank staff who got online and tried and attempted every day to get appointments. We continue to try to seek out opportunities and work as a community, a broader community, to secure opportunities for the vaccine. And hopefully that will lead us to a much safer and positive spring as we're able to get through the vaccination process. And just so you know, an update based on the weather conditions, all of the proviso areas and Leiden area schools, we have declared a remote learning day for all students tomorrow so that we don't have to worry about the safety and traveling. So students will participate in remote learning just as they would prior to our hybrid plan. And all staff will be working remotely tomorrow as well, with the exception of our custodial team who will be out here plowing and salting and making sure that our schools are safe to return to. And with that, that is all I have. If the board has any questions.
I have a question. When the last day you have her run back to school? All grade levels?
So I believe that would be February 8th is the date that we anticipate having all grades but pre-K.
But pre-K.
That is our target date as of right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Zimmerman. Hello.
Hi, good evening, everybody. First, I would like to ask, we would like the board to accept the work plan proposal and approve the expenditure for the ELA curriculum audit as presented.
I motion.
Carlos, we have a second. Is the second Alex?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next, I just wanted to take an opportunity to really thank the teaching and learning transition team for their work this year. And they have been such a dedicated group to work on our Berkeley blueprint for teaching for both hybrid, for remote, and then hybrid. They have devoted many, many hours over the course of this year to develop our comprehensive plan to support the teaching and learning for our staff and our students. And I just cannot express my gratitude for the work that they have done. And the people on this team have done such a thoughtful job to really think about everything that was needed and to be really detailed in that work. So we could not have done this without the work of this team. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank them for all the work that they've done to get us to this point, and to echo all the sentiments of Dr. Bresnahan with our hybrid implementation. And then next on the horizon, I'm really excited about our upcoming Institute Day on February 12th. We're going to be focusing on social emotional learning and development. As we've all been through a lot through the pandemic, and we're going to continue to focus on those needs for our students and developing and honing our strategies as teachers, as well as strategies for working with our EL students. And lastly, staff self-care, which is something that's very important for all of our staff to be taking care of themselves during this time as well. And we're really excited to be bringing author Pete Hall to our district. He's going to be giving a presentation to our staff on trauma-informed practices, which is something that the district started working and deepening our staff's understanding last year. So we're going to continue that work with author Pete Hall. So I'm really excited to bring him to our district. And that's all that I have, unless the board has any questions. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Vince.
Yes. The summary of budget, the statement of position, and the student activity reports for the period ending December 31, 2020 are provided for your review. Now, the next item is an annual recommendation, and this action tonight meets the requirement of the Illinois School Code. The suggested motion is that the Board of Education designate the superintendent and assistant superintendent for business services to prepare the 2021-2022 budget in a tentative form.
We have a motion, please.
I motion.
Second.
Carlos and Alex. I think poor Dennis is getting cold down over there. Could we have roll call, please?
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower. Motion carried.
Okay, and just a reminder, as we discussed earlier with Tammy from PMA about the change in our plan for selling bonds, that change will impact the budget. So we will be amending the current 2021 budget before the end of the fiscal year. So I just want to remind the board, we talked about that earlier in the year because there were so many unknowns, but the change in the bond schedule will require us to amend that budget. Okay, the next item is actually another annual action by the board. The suggested motion is that the Board of Education adopt the property tax year 2020 resolution authorizing intervention in proceeding before the State Property Tax Appeal Board as presented.
Could we have a motion, please?
I motion.
Second.
Carlos, and that was Dennis, right? Could we have roll call, please?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. Motion carried.
Okay, and we are in the process of accepting proposals on our E-rate related services and equipment. So this month we have a contract for internet access through AT&T for your approval. The Board of Education, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the E-rate Category 1 Internet Access Vendor Contract for the 2021-2022 school year, pending attorney review as presented.
Could we have a motion, please?
Jackson.
Okay, Dennis is second
Carlos.
by Carlos. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson. O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. And I wanted to share with the board that the CPI rate for December 2020 was announced. It's 1.4%. And as you may recall, many of our vendor contracts are tied to that for the renewals that are built in. So that 1.4% is the increase amount that we will be using on any contract that is tied to that issued rate. And a little good news, we participate in the NRG on-demand response for our energy reduction when it's called upon. And based on our participation and our response, we received payments totaling $4,639. There's no requirement how that is spent, so that will be added into the district's revenue sources. Next, I wanted to share with the board that our Comcast bandwidth expansion, we have posted a 470, which is a request for proposal through the E-rate process in order to expand the bandwidth that is currently provided through Comcast. We'll bring a recommendation to the board next month after the bid process or proposal process is completed and proposals are reviewed and a recommendation is established. The next item on my oral report is to inform the board that the EBC, our medical benefit insurance for employees, the pre-renewal meeting will be held this Thursday virtually, and I will be attending that and bring back to the board the preliminary renewal rates once they are shared with us. And the last item is that the summer food service program rates have increased on January 1st, and we are currently participating in that, that food service program, which is a little different than just our regular breakfast and lunch program for the students. This is the program that allows us to provide a meal to anyone in the community up to age 18. And the new rates were issued, and they did increase a little bit as of January 1, which will help offset the costs of the program. And that is the end of my report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Sullivan.
I made sure I waited my turn again. Thank you. Just want to give a quick update. We had our parent education adult ESL class tonight. It's the first one that we were able to run remotely, and we were very happy. We had 10 parents who spent time with myself, Miss Valdez, Miss Renovales, and Miss Garcia, and it was just conversational English for approximately an hour. And we're very proud of our teachers and the work of Miss Valdez in getting that up and running. We used to do that in person. It took a while to get it going remotely through Zoom, but we were able to do it. And it was a really nice start tonight. Also, this Thursday, Ms. Valdez has helped set up through the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee a presentation by Dr. Fernay Ramirez. And Dr. Ramirez will be presenting to our parents in Spanish with translation through the Zoom chat in English on ways to help prepare their children socially and emotionally for being able to be effective in the American public school system. So we're looking forward to Fernay. He's going to be here for 2 more sessions, for a total of 3 sessions, so he can follow up with our bilingual parents. Additionally, we will be continuing in our summer school planning. We have had quite a few conversations, and we expect to have a proposal for you to review and possibly approve in February, and that will allow us to do take some actions related to our planning to secure teaching positions. We have some ideas about having 2 programs for summer school, not only 2 locations, but also 2 time frames. One right at the end of the school year, and then one prior to the beginning of the next school year. So more of that will be in the proposal, but I just wanted to let you know that we're working on that and planning for that. And the plan is to have that as an in-person, on-site summer school. And then finally, I just wanted to mention that also we will be meeting with our local community police departments on February 19th. As Dr. Bresnahan said, we have the children coming back to school. And so we want to make sure that we're all set with our partnerships with our community police and fire departments, but also to make sure we're on schedule for our fire drills, our intruder alerts, lockdowns, things of that nature, and any threat assessment, best practices that we can learn from our police. So those are some upcoming events that Special Services is working on. And unless there are any questions, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
One question about summer school. Are we extending it or are we not extending summer school?
We are looking at extending it and running actually an early summer and a late summer program depending on our funding, so that we can capture kind of like a pre-boot camp for the fall, but also a more traditional end of summer, beginning of summer model as well.
And we open up for all grade levels or just?
Yes, no, all grade levels. We've traditionally incoming kindergarten through incoming 8th graders.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. Okay. Mrs. Travis.
Hi, good evening. Listed in the board report is our current vacancies. I will have to update it after tonight's meeting. And then also, I have a very quick report tonight. Also, I attended the IASPA conference on last Thursday and Friday. I want to thank you for the opportunity to attend. I also serve on the IASPA board as a member at large. It was a great conference. I was able to listen and hear how my colleagues are either in remote learning or transitioning to their hybrid model of learning. And then also I was able to share the information from our transition plan. I was able to also attend sessions on equity, having courageous conversations, legal updates, and licensure updates. So overall, it was a great conference this year. And then on Wednesday of this week, I will be sharing in a updated COVID webinar between IASPA and IASPO organizations. Unless there are questions, that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other new business? Okay, then our next regular board meeting will be 7 o'clock on February 22nd. Could we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Alex,
Alex, and seconded by Dennis. Could we have roll call, please?
Chavez,
At 8:49.
Hightower, Jackson, O'Connell.
Aye.
Soto.
aye.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and we will see you hopefully back on site on Wednesday. Stay safe, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.